My jealous husband was hurting our months-old triplets, so I chased him out of the house. Now, I learned that he is obsessed with an escort and wants us out of the picture, posted by u/throw scarecrow. So I, 35F, have been with my husband, 42M, for 8 years and married for 7 years. We have tried for so long to have children. Due to my husband's health problem, he developed fertility issues. We had to get medical assistance to be able to have our children because if we didn't, he'd probably never have kids. So we went through fertility treatment. He desperately wanted his biological children, and we spent a fortune just to bring them into the world. Now he's jealous and is very distant from our triplets. He's constantly in competition with his infant children. If I hold the children, he gets frustrated. Anytime they take my attention away, he gets completely pissy. He's always in a foul mood, irritable, and just downright nasty. I don't understand it. Why is he like this? Our children are barely 6 months old, and they won't stop crying every time he's near. I feel like they can sense his negativity. I tried talking to him. I've suggested he take an interest in the kids and spend more time with us as a family. I know it can sometimes take a little longer for parents to bond with their children, but this is scary to experience. He's full of jealousy and envy. He sees our children as competition to my time and affection. A few times now, he has made comments about feeling frustrated that I still breastfeed our children. The thing is, we mix feed, so he has had ample opportunity to feed them, but he doesn't want to. He also said that our life after having children wasn't what he thought it would be like. What did he expect, that only one baby would cry? Of course, all 3 of them would. He wanted these children. He pushed for them, and now this. I never thought this would ever happen to me. I am scared. I am scared for my children. I have tried talking to him, but he just brushes me off. I've suggested counseling. He refuses. He tells me it's all in my head. I want to save this marriage, but I am scared I won't be able to, and maybe it's not worth saving. He comes home late every day. He avoids us on the weekends and any time he has off. I'm not ashamed to say that I went through his phone, and there are a lot of flirtatious texts between him and Jessica. I don't think anything has happened between them, but it sure looks like they are building up to it. I haven't said anything because I'm afraid. Where do I go with 3 children, with no money and no family that can help me? I haven't worked in 2 years, and I've spent all my savings on having these children. My mind is in a complete meltdown. I can't sleep, I can't think, and I'm always exhausted. What the heck happened? Is this him now forever? Update 1. Thank you to the person who said I should watch his interactions with my babies more closely and frequently. Not even hours after I posted here asking for advice, I caught him pinching my son. I decided to check my baby monitor, and I watched my husband enter our children's room and insult them in a hushed and whispery tone. I couldn't make out much of what he was saying, but he was, without a doubt, telling them that he hated them and wished them dead. Then he pinched my son, and my baby boy didn't even cry, which made me think he'd done this many times before. It all happened so fast, and by the time I could make sense of what was happening on the monitor, he was already walking down the hallway and the stairs. At the same time, I had leapt off the sofa and pretty much tackled him as he came off the stairs. We got into a physical and verbal altercation. We fought, argued, and shouted for hours. I guess the police were called by the neighbors because the next thing I knew, the police were banging on my door. I explained the situation to the police, and the officers said that they could not prove that my baby was harmed since he didn't have a bruise and my baby monitor was only on a live feed and not simultaneously recording. Eventually, they got my husband to agree to pack a bag and leave. He left reluctantly. He has since been blowing up my phone, begging for forgiveness. He is talking about how he's been depressed and stressed by the babies, and that his anxiety and jealousy got the best of him. I just responded once, telling him to go frick himself. I've also been in contact with a lawyer, and she's advised me to leave him unblocked in case he further incriminates himself. I don't even recognize who this man is. Where did this all come from? How did this happen? Has any other parent experienced this? How did you handle this? Before you all start jumping down my throat, I am absolutely getting a divorce, and I will do everything in my power to get full custody. I did take my children to our family doctor, and they are in good health, and there are no other signs of abuse. I filed a report with the police, and my lawyer is dealing with it. I'm also about to start the process of divorce. Update 2. Since I made my husband leave the house, every conversation with him feels like I'm losing my mind. The only thing that has kept me semi-sane and able to track what he has been doing is my audio journal and my posts on here. Last week, it was my 36th birthday. Actually, I had forgotten it was my birthday and was reminded by my sister that it was, in fact, my birthday. I decided I couldn't mope around the house, so I got my kids dressed to go shopping and get groceries. We got back, and I put away half of the groceries, but my babies were fussy, so to tire them out and ready them for bed, we went for a walk. When I got back home, he was in the kitchen cooking and putting away some of the groceries I had left out. He greeted me and acted normal. I didn't react because his entire demeanor was freaking me out, so I played along. I went upstairs and got the kids down. I did think of walking out the front door, but he was kind of anticipating it, so he followed me around. I thought that, at the moment, the best thing I could do was to get my kids upstairs and away from him. He said he wanted to talk and clear the air because this has gone on too long. We had a long conversation, and it started reasonably but eventually spiraled out of control. We got into a physical confrontation because I refused to let him stay. He tried to intimidate me physically, and he, well, hurt me. While he was hurting me, I was still able to contact the police. It took them an excruciatingly long 25 minutes to get here. So here I am, sitting with two completely black and blue eyes, a busted lip, a swollen face, massive knots on my head, and bruises all over. I don't know what happened to my life or how I got here, but here I am. I can't even look my neighbors in the eyes. I can't go outside without seeing the shocked faces of people. I have never felt so ashamed, so humiliated, so hurt, and so utterly stupid. I thought I made all the right choices in life. What did I do wrong? When did it all get so messed up? I mean, I think I did everything right. I created a stable life for myself and then picked a man who, at the time, was a very loving partner. I married that man and waited 5 years before even going through the process of having children with him, and now, once I've had his children, he's just beating me up and our babies. My sister is now aware of what's been happening, and she is supporting me as best as she can. I have plans to move out, but since I'm not working right now, I need some time to save up. His family is also aware. His family refused to believe that I saw him hurt our child, but they can't deny this attack now that they've seen my bruises. Also, yes, he was arrested, and he was bailed out by his brother. He's currently staying with his brother. Update 3. I say all of this without exaggeration. I'm certain he was getting ready to unalive us. After nearly 8 months of turmoil, I'm finally close to understanding. My soon-to-be ex-husband is in love with a woman he came across on social media, and he has been obsessing over her for at least a year. She also happens to be an escort, and he was paying her for her time and attention. In his mind, he believed they could have a future together if he could get rid of my children and me. Even though this woman gave him no inkling that she even wanted to be with him. He has spent so much of our money on this woman. I am at a loss for words that could accurately describe the situation. I can barely believe half of the things he's been up to. I've spent the past few weeks playing detective, and I finally decided to contact Jessica. This is obviously not her name, but I need to call her something. I contacted Jessica, and at first, she was very reluctant to speak to me, but I literally begged her to, and she was kind enough to get on the phone with me. She told me that she had been seeing him for a while, but she stopped seeing him because he started to scare her. He was sending her unhinged messages and voicemails. He had been stalking her and trying to convince her to be with him. Jessica eventually stopped seeing him and had him blocked, and I guess this was when he started to escalate from emotional abuse to physically abusing my children and myself. He was looking for a way out, and in his crazy mind, killing us would free him because the only reason Jessica wouldn't be with him was because me and my children were in the way. During our long call, I also explained to Jessica what had been happening to me, and she was genuinely kind and helpful. She also agreed to speak to my lawyer and send them the thousands of unhinged texts, voicemails, and voice notes he had sent her. For a little while after our conversation, a part of me genuinely hated Jessica and wanted to blame her for everything, but the rational part of me pushed out those unreasonable and dangerous thoughts, especially after I read his disturbing texts and heard his voicemail to Jessica. She has also been victimized by him. Honestly, there is nothing like listening to your husband and father of your children talk about how you and your children mean nothing to him and how he wishes you were dead. He could have just asked for a divorce or just got up and left. I sent him a few texts asking him why. Why do all of this? Why torment my babies? Why not just walk away? He responded with a message saying any conversation between us should be through our lawyers. His parents have him lawyered up. They know what he's been up to, and they've chosen to protect him. His father came to see me and, in a not-so-direct way, suggested he could pay me if I stopped talking about what his son had done and was planning on doing. Ever since he broke into the house and pretty much tried to unalive me, I've told anyone who'd listen what he has done. At this point, even his colleagues know. Update 4. It's been a few weeks since my last update, and I am here to give you my last one. So, last week Thursday, at approximately 2 a.m. in the morning, my husband was arrested outside of Jessica's house. When he was arrested, they found in his truck small baggies with drug residue, and apparently, they also found tools of abduction. My soon-to-be ex-father-in-law called me at around 4 a.m. to tell me that his son was arrested. My father-in-law was the one who used the term tools of abduction. When I asked him what it meant, he said he didn't have time for my interrogation tactics. He then asked if I could help them find a lawyer for him and to stand by his son throughout all of this. When I told him, "How on earth am I supposed to find a lawyer this early in the morning?" he lost his marbles and then started screaming. My soon-to-be ex-mother-in-law took over the phone, telling me that I'm a damn jerk and that all this is my fault. I hung up before she could say any more. I never knew this man to take illegal medicine. Sure, he drank occasionally, but I didn't see him take anything else. I honestly don't know what's happening anymore or how I got here. I mean, it does make sense he was on grass for the past 7 months now that I look back at things. I mean, I don't even know anything about illegal medicine to be able to recognize the behavior pattern, but once I researched it, it seemed clear. The moodiness, the disappearances, the lies, the anger, the sudden outburst, and the violence at all points to usage, as well as him being an abusive jerk. His parents and the rest of his family had called and texted me so many abusive things, and they occasionally switched to begging me to see him or pick up his calls. I've mainly ignored them. I don't have the time, the energy, or the love that is needed to be there for this man and his parents. I've given him 8 years of my love and affection, and he spat it back into my face during the hardest and most vulnerable time of my life. Also, why would they think I'd help him after everything he's done? Especially since I think he deserves to be in jail for not only hurting my children but also for hurting myself and Jessica. I hope and pray he's jailed for the rest of his natural life. I've tried being a good wife, but he has attacked my children. He has attacked me. He has lied and tormented us, and they expect me to help him. I've packed everything up, and I'm leaving. I'm disappearing with my kids, and anything else between me and these people can be handled through my lawyer. The only people who know where I'm moving to are my lawyer and my sister. What else can I do to protect my children? Where do I keep my head high when I'm now being treated like I'm an evil and disgusting person by pretty much everyone I once called a family? These people are trying to destroy me inside and out, and I don't know how to survive them. How am I supposed to rebuild my life when they don't stop tormenting me? In less than a year of their birth, I've managed to fail my children.